What's up, people? Welcome to Not Yet Uhuru. My name is Ditshego Ditshego, and this is an ode to manhood. Today we're talking to Ditshego Ditshego, a trans woman who is living her best life. So we're going to be learning a lot from her, starting from intersectional feminism all the way to her transitioning to becoming a woman. Welcome, Ditshego.
Thank you for having me.
How are you?
I am fantastic. I'm happy we are in a place that I love.
Yeah.
And I have many great memories from here, and I'm making another one here. So, yeah.
So who's Ditshego?
Ditshego Ditshego is a transgender woman who is also a journalist, a broadcaster, a presenter, and a PhD candidate. I just got my letters. So, yes! Hi. So she will soon be Dr. Ditshego. So she's a PhD candidate who's trying to change the world, realistically so, and failing which, at least leave the world a better place than she found it, especially for my LGBTQ brothers and sisters, and more especially for my transgender brothers and sisters.
All right, that's a very nice way of just framing who you are, because then you really invite me into your space, your
Yes.
state of mind.
Come in.
So I'm interested in what you said about your father when he passed on. He knew he had questions in terms of he's not sure if this boy, he's a boy, but he's not acting like
Very
a
true.
boy,
Very true.
Yeah.
So can I tell you, my transitioning, my journey has been quite a long one, actually. Because for the longest time, I've always known that I was gay, or that I've always thought that I was gay. I've never been in the closet. I've had quite amazing parents who didn't understand it, but never shamed it as well. Because, my parents were not very liberal. I don't want to say they're liberal, but they were very loving. What they would do is try to shield me from the world. They noted that I was different, and they noted that the world is an ugly place and it may not be very receptive of someone like me, but they never tried to change me or convert me or oppress me. The thing is also that I was never a boy, and this is also one of the things I want to address, is that in the world we live in, when you're born, they look at what's between your legs and they assign you a gender based on whether or not you have a penis or a vagina. And because I was born with a penis, I was assigned male at birth, but I was never male, and that's what I want to correct.
So this brings me to a conversation that I recently had with a colleague of mine. So we were just having, a chat about gender and sexuality, and we're just trying to find out, okay, so gender is a choice. Sexuality is a natural process. So could you just give us can you clear this up for us?
Yeah.
Because I think it's very confusing to us, because then we confuse gender and sex,
and think it's the same thing.
and think it's the same thing.
So gender is not a choice, but I understand why you would say it's a choice. Gender is what you identify as. So my gender is female, right? My sex is male. So sex applies to the biology, to what you possess physically. And that's why intersex people are called multi-sex, because it's not multi-gender, because it's the organs that are the confusion, not the person themselves. What they identify as could be one of the two, could be both of them, or even none of them, as we've recently grown to learn and accept asexuality as a genuine sexuality, which a lot of intersex people are now choosing or finding rather, as a comfortable reference for their own being. So just to clarify, gender is an identity. It's what you identify as. So the reason why you are a straight woman, or as we would call you, a cisgender or cis-het woman, is because your gender and your sex are aligned. You were born female and you identify as female. So your gender and your sex are one and the same. So I am transgender because my gender is female, but my sex isn't. Well, it will change soon, but for now, while we're gathering funds.
So let's talk about your becoming.
Yes. Yes.
So let's talk about Ditshego. So you mentioned that as a little boy, people thought that you were confused, and also, I really wanna find out your becoming. When did you realize that, you know what, I am actually like
Right.
ke mosadi.
Ke mosadi.
Hey,
Ke
I cannot-
mosadi.
hey, ke
That's-
mosadi.
Even saying that now and owning that is so powerful for me, because there's so many people who feel that they own womanhood and they get offended when someone like myself says ke mosadi. When I say it, they say "Biang, bara o mosadi biang." On what terms are you? And you know, so for a long time I would oppress my desire to say this simply because I didn't want to offend those who felt that they owned womanhood. But just to give you a bit of background onto my own discovery and my journey, I identified as a gay man for the longest time. It was only in the last 2 years when I lived in New York and I was completing my master's degree and I was away from everyone that knew me, and it was literally a new slate, and I could rewrite my life. And I did, and I found that everything that I did, everything that I wore, because I had no one to explain myself to or no one to apologize to, because that's something we so often do as the LGBT community. We sometimes we shine so bright, and our light offends people, and we end up either dimming our light or apologizing for it, you know. But I found that when I was in America and I had no one to answer to, I've always been a woman, but I've never celebrated it, I've never embraced it. Only when I was in America that I had no one to answer to, no one to apologize to, or no one to explain myself to, did I then find out that, you know what, this is who and what I am.
So, which brings me to my next question. At what point did you realize that I can no longer take it? I really need to, I have to go after my womanity and claim it and, you know, be that woman?
It was when I was in New York and I realized how happy I was living as a woman. And I remember it was on the ferry, because I lived on Staten Island. And I remember this so well. And I said, I am so happy. Why haven't I been doing this? And I remember thinking, I'm happy because I'm in New York. And a friend of mine said, no, it's not, because I had two friends, Koketso from Botswana and Santa from the DRC. And they said, your happiness is not coming from where we are. It's coming from where you are here right now, in this space, in this dress, in these heels. This is why you're happy. And that's the moment when I realized that the happiness I was enjoying in New York, I could enjoy anywhere else in the world, as long as I was living my truth. Because also another burden that I've carried for the longest time is batu ring.
Yeah.
I can't tell you how many times I've asked myself that question. I could even recently, because I can't even say I've done away with it completely, because even now recently when I was doing these yellow nails, I was like, yo, this color is a bit ratch, hey? And then I said to the gentleman who was doing my nails, I was just like, batu ring, and he just looked at me like, really? Are we still doing this? Okay, you know? And he did one nail and I was like, Ira, do the rest, you know. And I have found that in many instances where I've said batu ring and then discarded whatever they would say, it has been one of my greatest triumphs. It's been moments that led to some of my greatest achievements. You know, so, and it's part of the reason why I'm so sad. I love books. I'm an academic of note. But what led me to loving books was me realizing that the world will not celebrate me for who I am. So from a young age, I've always been an academic overachiever. But what people don't know is that I've always done that because I knew that the world wouldn't accept me as being gay, but I thought they'd accept me as being a genius. It's always been sort of my way, or in my mind, my weapon, yes, my defense. Yeah. And also sort of in my books, I've always thought it's the only way that the straights will respect me. And for the longest time, the acceptance and the respect of my straight counterparts has always been something that's very important to me. It means nothing to me now. Absolutely nothing.
Have you ever felt like giving up? Like, not really just giving up, but just questioning your choice in your sexuality?
Yes, absolutely, yes. Especially in transitioning, because it's the physical transition itself is such a physically strenuous process and very painful as well. It's very painful and it takes very long, especially if you are transitioning from male to female. They drill a hole in your body.
What?
Yes.
Okay.
So it's quite so I've questioned it many times. I still question it when I'm stuck in traffic and I'm like, do you really want a vagina? You know, you can still carry on doing what you're doing, and I don't know, is it that important to you? But I still keep coming to the same answer. But yes, there's a lot of self-doubt, a lot of questioning myself, a lot of giving up, definitely, of saying, I did not sign up for this, you know.
Yeah.
And also, when you are a person like myself, you people also just sort of throw responsibility onto you, you know, and then they start expecting you to behave a certain way. And when you put a foot wrong, they start not just judging you, but judging the entire trans community. And you start saying, but that's not fair, you know. I'm not a representative of the whole entire trans community, and my failure should not reflect on my entire community. You know, if you see me leaving a club with my heels in my hands and I'm drunk, you know, you shouldn't then go and say, but it's alone. You know, that's not fair.
It's not.
Yeah, you know, so I have had many times when I was like, but no, I didn't sign up for this. Or no, this is a bit too much. Or this is not fair. You know, a lot is expected upon me. But I've also realized that I have a lot of, I am a talented individual. And when I do talk, people do listen. And my mother always says to me, to whom much is given, much is expected. And she tries to say that, you know, God has blessed you with so many gifts and has afforded you all these opportunities. And because of all these blessings, you are a lot more is expected of you. You know, heavy is the head that wears the crown, and you are wearing the crown, and it will be heavy, but it'll also be worth it. And I keep reminding myself of that we must keep fighting for myself and for those like me.